This lesson is about hyperlinks. If you remember, the HT in XHTML stands for hypertext, and so it could be said that hyperlinks are very much at the center of what HTML and XHTML are all about. Open your examples folder and go to the subfolder called Anchors, and you'll see in a moment why it's called that, and open the hyperlinks.html file in your text editor. This is the example for hyperlinks, and it's a little bit longer than some of our other examples. Notice here this paragraph, which has an A tag in it. A stands for anchor. href sounds for the hyperlink reference. And then there's this part here, which is a URL, which stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It has a title, and it has then content in the A tag. Remember, here's the open tag of the A with the attributes, and this is the close tag. And so the content of the A container is the text Bill's website. If we look at this file in the browser, we'll go ahead and open this in Internet Explorer. And then you'll see this link here that says Bill's website. A tooltip pops up that says More About Bill. That tooltip is the title attribute. There's the tooltip, More About Bill. And you see down in the status bar, this is the status bar here. So keep your eye there as I move my mouse up and roll it over the link. The status bar shows the URL. It shows the href attribute of the anchor tag, which is where the resource is located on the web. Let's just talk briefly about the URL before we go and click on it. The URL has several parts, and a little later in the lesson, I'll show you a graphic that shows all the parts, but these are the parts that are very common. The first part is the protocol, and here it says HTTP, which is the normal protocol that you'll see for most websites. It stands for Hypertext Transport Protocol. And then there's a colon and 2 slashes that separates the protocol from the host name in the URL. And then here's the host name, bw.org. That's my website. That's the name of the host. It also happens to be the domain name, but many times the host name will have a www before it and say www.bw.org, which also works for mine, but I like the shorter bw.org. And then there's another slash right there, and that slash could be followed by other things, which would be the local part of the URL, where the resource is located on the server or in the server's file system. So this is a pretty typical URL. If you just put bw.org by itself, that won't work. And we can even try that in a moment. And then let's go over to the browser and go ahead and click on it. Now I move my mouse over, notice the status bar, and I click on it, and up comes the website. And there's my very black and white website. My initials are BW. It ought to be black and white. Now I've turned off the toolbar in this browser, so I'll just click the back button on my keyboard. And now we notice that the link is a different color. There are several definitions of colors available for links on a web page. And one is the link color, which is this bluish. And another is the visited link color, which is this more magenta color here. And you can change those in the body tag. You can change the color of the visited link in the XHTML by adding the vlink attribute. Let's just make it red. And the vlink attribute goes in the body tag. I'll save and reload. And now the visited link is red in the browser. And all visited links will be red in the browser. You can also just change link colors by adding a link attribute. You can make those, say green. Now all the unvisited links, the regular links, are green, and the visited links are red. Now, color me conventional. I like the defaults. But you can change them, and many people just make them the same because on their websites they have a particular color scheme. In fact, on my BW website, I made very subtle colors, and the visited and the unvisited are the same there as well. So that's the basic syntax of the anchor element. There's one more attribute that's worth knowing about, and that is the target attribute. Later in the lesson on frames, you'll learn a little more about the target attribute. But for now, there is one form of the target attribute that is useful to learn here, and that is target equals blank. And you'll notice that the word blank has this underscore character at the beginning of it. What target equals blank does, it loads the new web page in a blank, fresh web browser window. If we go over here to Internet Explorer and hit refresh and click on this link, you'll notice that it brings up a whole new window with the new web page in it. This is sometimes useful, and a lot of the major sites use this trick. When your visitor goes to a link that's outside of your website, all they have to do is close their window, and they're right back at your website again. So sometimes that's useful, and I use that on my website sometimes if I want the visitors to come back when they're done visiting another web page. So that's the essential elements of the anchor tag. There are more lessons in this section where we'll learn more details about URLs and navigation and such.